She wanted this twisting, turning, meandering stream system. This is exactly what Laura and Mark picked the lot for. This is gonna look phenomenal. This is my most favorite part. As soon as we put this in, Laura came out and she's like, oh my gosh, another incredible project has come to a close. This has been a phenomenal build. We struggled. We had some bad weather. Actually, the first day we were here, it was snowing. Snow comes blowing in. We have people coming in from out of state, but we knocked it out of the park. So everybody came together. We had that common vision. We have a beautiful palette to work with. Check out the incredible home. Everything is lining up, looking on the back of the property. What I love about it is the incredible canopy of oak trees. This is exactly what Laura and Mark picked the lot for. They love the trees. They have a beautiful golf course on one side. And actually, Laura is a big rock hound. We were talking about all types of cool rocks. She collects rocks. Her father lives up in central Wisconsin. She's always picking out unique rocks. So I love talking to her about sandstone and limestone, all the beautiful rocks that we have for this specific project. So when I say we came together, we really came together for the project. We started out down here on the bottom, work our way all the way out. We have a 1,500 gallon rainwater capture system down below this beautiful stream system. That 1,500 gallon reservoir is going to recirculate all the water through this incredible stream system. Like I said, everything from the home is looking out into the property. So as they're sitting in the kitchen, in the family room, on the back patio, they're going to be hearing the sight and sound of this beautiful stream. They are also really big into wildlife. So the birds and all the animals that are going to come to here is going to be incredible. Deer, there's chipmunks and there's squirrels and there's all types of wildlife that we've been seeing. Actually, I saw some bluebirds today, which I haven't seen in quite a while. So I know all those animals are going to come in like crazy to this water feature because it's a nice, clean, healthy drinking water system for all those incredible animals. What I also loved about this was Laura had a great vision. So she's a landscape designer, so she gave us a lot of different pictures and things, which makes our job a lot easier. If we could understand what everybody's looking for, we could build it. So Brian and I came out here a few weeks ago and we sat down and we talked with her, but all those beautiful rocks coming in, she wanted this twisting, turning, meandering stream system. Brian sold this project over a year ago, so it was great for us to be able to put it in right away in spring. So what I want to do right now is why don't we take a little bit of a walk and I could show you all the unique little things that we put into this incredible woodland stream. Whenever we're designing and building, especially a long stream system like this, we want to have as much interaction as possible. Bridge crossings, stepping stones, but they have to lead somewhere. So we have this incredible terrace over on one side, some stepping stones coming across. We just mulch this. They will continue connecting that path. So there's a little disconnect right now, but there's a pathway coming across. You have this beautiful stone slab. It's going to take you across to the fire pit area. With the stream system, we have a lot of shoreline. So there's a lot of spaces where the water meets the land. That's where that biodiversity happens. That's where that riparian zone is. But that's also where humans interact with it as well. We could walk along the perimeter, we could enjoy the plants, the beautiful stonework, the river rocks, all these different elements that are coming together. So I love having these lazy meandering stream systems. The other thing that I want to point out here is we have a very shallow gradient from the reservoir all the way up to the base of the main fall. We're trying to mimic that Illinois style watershed. Remember, Illinois is relatively flat. We have a little bit of an elevation change here, but it's very, very subtle. So most of our streams are very similar to this. They're going to be long, meandering stream systems that are going to lazily carve their way through all of the bedrock and the limestone that is underneath the ground that we're standing on. And that's exactly the goal that we were going for. We put in these craggy limestone pieces. They got mosses and stuff growing on them. And what I like about these is they're in their natural habitat. They're going to be shaded, so that moss is going to be protected. The other thing about this limestone and sandstone, it absorbs moisture. So this is gonna suck up some of the moisture from the water feature itself, and it's gonna allow those mosses and things to really take off. In a couple years from now, this is gonna look phenomenal. Let's go check out one of my most favorite parts. I don't know if I have one, there might be a couple, but this one is pretty awesome. Check this out. So because they had a wooded property, we wanted to use as much of the logs and natural pieces as possible. We had a large pile over on the back. There's some downed old trees and things like that. So we had some ash and we had some oak, both of them very, very good hardwoods. But just check this out with this turkey tail mushroom growing all over it. And what I also love about this is this little pocket over here. So this little kind of a washed out cave area, which is exactly what you would find in nature because water's gonna scour itself out underneath, but this is gonna provide habitat. Actually, as soon as we put this in, Lara came out and she's like, oh my gosh, she's like, that's gonna be an incredible home for frogs and salamanders. It's exactly what you would find underneath here. So this is gonna be a perfect home for all those little critters and things like that to crawl up inside. And again, what I like working with logs and things like that, it adds another texture to the feature. So all the stonework, I love rock, but I also love wood and I love plants and I love that mixture of all these different textures because it's exactly what you would find in nature. It breaks up the monotony of all that harsh stonework. So by having this wooden element, it just softens it up, but it also adds another type of surface for microorganisms to actually populate. And when we're talking about ecosystem streams as well as ponds, the more the diversity of the surface areas, that's going to give us a healthier ecosystem. So I love working with this type of stuff. Check out some of these rocks. As soon as we saw these rocks showing up on the truck, we knew what we were going to do with them. But also Brian handpicked these, so I knew they were going to be phenomenal. So these incredible rocks have been water worn. Exactly the position that they're going to go in. We wanted to set them in place to give it that sweeping motion that we wanted to have with this feature. So as you can see, you follow that path of just these bubbles. It's like a big S curve coming through. But when we dig it out, it's almost a straight channel. We over dig everything and then we place the rocks to make the water twist and turn itself through the feature. So that's the beauty of working with these right materials. But just look at all the textures and the water worn marks. So it looks like that water's just kind of carved its way through. And these two pieces matched up perfectly next to each other. So we're always looking for complementary stones. So as soon as we place the first rock in the water feature, it's going to tell us the next rock that's going to go next to it, and so on. So we're always thinking not one or two rocks, we're thinking 10 rocks down the line what the feature is going to look like. I'm always going out to the stone pile, picking and choosing all the stone. And speaking of that, this was one of our big challenges here. We have a several 100-foot traverse across the property here from where we were staging all the rocks to the feature. So what we had to do, because we wanted to protect these incredible oak trees, we didn't want to bring in 30 tons of rock and all of our materials here. We would have destroyed and we would have compacted the root system. So we left all the materials way out over on that service road, and then we brought in just a couple pallets at a time. So from a logistical standpoint, we definitely had our challenges. Plus we had rain, and then we had just a muddy mess kind of coming in and out of here. But again, that's the construction business in Northern Illinois in springtime. Let's go check out that main waterfall, because this thing is unbelievable. So there are so many unique details on this particular project, and here is another one. So this massive slab of sandstone over here had a natural area that was just water worn, so it was the perfect way for us to have a transitional zone from our waterfall to go down into the stream system. But what we did here, if you remember when I was doing construction, I dug out a deep hole right there. So this is what you would find in nature. It's known as a plunge pool, where you have a fast, high volume of water coming in, and it scours out the bottom of the river system, and it creates a deep hole right at the base of a waterfall. So the reason we did that, one was to mimic nature. The other one was to give a little bit deeper spot for their dogs. The dogs love going in water. They don't really like swimming, but they could wade into the water. So we made a little bit of a deeper pocket here for them to cool off. What I love about this, you can see this rock comes down and it scours that out. And then we put in a massive stone on the other side to split the water flow instead of just having a big open pool. Again, mimicking nature, finding these erratic boulders and things like that positioned in the stream bed because it's immovable. So what this means is that's bedrock. The water comes through, scours that area out, leaves these big chunks, and then we have these little side channel areas. From a design perspective, I don't want things to be perfectly equal. So I didn't want to put this rock right smack in the middle and have 50% of the water on one side and 50% on the other. I wanted to have it like 70-30. So 70% of the water mass over here, and then just a little fast moving water on the other side. Again, creating that little carved out area under this incredible piece of ash right here. So this is just kind of carving itself through here. We can see that swift moving water. All these little details make all the difference in the world. The other thing I want to point out, check out all the lush moss that's growing all over this piece of sandstone. Because it's a porous rock, it sucks up that moisture and that moss takes over. So April Dugan, phenomenal. She loved to do all that little detail work. So she made sure that the water was going to go where we wanted it by strategically using the waterfall foam to foam in some of these pieces of oak branches as well as more of that moss. So that's kind of softening all that stuff up. It's strategic. It's forcing the water exactly where we need it. Check out this main fall because this is incredible. Let's go take a look. So working with these big slabs of stone is a lot of fun. We could position them in different ways. We could put them in flat, or we could angle them a little bit, and we could create little pockets for water to come through. What I didn't want to do on this particular project was just have big, wide, flat waterfalls. I wanted to have just these large kind of sloping slabs coming down into the water system. So that's exactly what we did here. We kind of just raised up the rocks a little bit, and we created more of this just fast moving, a lot of thick water going over it, which creates a specific sight and sound. So that's what we were going for from an audible perspective. We wanted more of that bass tone. So that thick water going into these deep little pockets and pools. A couple of stumps that we found also over in the back was a perfect way to hide our piping system coming in, but also just gives us that illusion of that water starts in a different location. Now Laura is going to come in after the fact, and she's going to plant this up. She's going to come in with some evergreens and things like that over in the back to really kind of break up that distant view. So once that happens, I know that's going to transform everything. One thing I also want to point out, not only all the little mosses, but check out all this little stuff. Coming in with some more little stumps and things like that. Again, just like some little wildflowers. This is Trillium, so it's a natural woodland plant. It's going to take over, continue to spread through that area, but it's just those little touches that really make all the difference in the world, which is why I love designing and building water features, because the diversity is incredible. Every project is unique, every rock is different, every setting is different, every client is different.